who are able to have a testimony to realize when I thought that it was all over, when I thought that it was all finished, when I thought that it was all gone, I realized that I couldn't fight it anymore. But I realized that there was one greater than me who was battling for me. And all I had to do is stand back and see the salvation of the Lord. The Bible declares in the 4th chapter of Nehemiah, in the 15th verse, it says, "Then our enemies heard that we are aware of our plot, and that God had frustrated their plot. We returned to the wall, each of us to our own work. From that day on, half of my men did work, while the other half were equipped with spears, shields, bows, and armor. The officers posted themselves behind the people of Judah, who were building the wall. They carried materials and did work with one hand, right? And held a weapon in the other. And each of the builders wore a sword on his side as he worked. But the men who sounded the trumpets stayed with me. And then they said to the nobles and officials and the rest of the people, the work is extensive and spread out, and we are widely separated from each other along the wall. Whenever you hear the sound of the trumpet, join in there with us, and our God will fight for us." I'm here to let a brother know on today that your God is able to fight for you. All you've got to do is make a sound like a trumpet and declare who God is concerning and over your life, and declare, "God, I'm putting it all in your hands. Do a work in my life." Here it is, Nehemiah, a kingdom man. Are there any kingdom men in the house on tonight? He saw what was broken. He went to work. He overcame opposition. Lastly, beloved, he filled the gap. Nehemiah filled the gap. Here it is, amen, the cracks. First chapter in chapter 6, first verse in chapter 6, we read it before, it says, "Then the word came to Sanballat and Tobiah, Gershom and the Arab and the rest of the enemies, that I rebuild the wall, and not a gap was left in it." Here it is, beloved, you are called to rebuild the walls and not leave a gap. That's right. You are called, this is it, to handle your business. Handle your business. Here it is. Those same schemers try to frustrate them once again. Here they try it again. And they said, so they sent messengers and said, "We want to just talk to you. We just want to work something out with you." Those same folks who try to frustrate him. What did Nehemiah said? He said, "I am carrying on a great project and cannot go down. Why should I leave work and stop and leave it to go down to you?" Beloved, sometimes you got to have a mindset and understanding to say, "I'm doing a great work and I can't be bothered with foolish foxes. I can't be bothered with things that are too below my privilege and what God has called me to do." Because listen, some people just want to come to take you off your course. Some people just want to come into your life. They don't want anything from you except to put you off the path that God has placed you on. But how many understand and realize, I cannot go down. I can't go down to your level. I can't go down to where you are, because there's greatness on the inside of me. God is calling me a call to build something big. Are there any builders in the house on tonight to declare, "I will not go down"? I'm not going to go down, but I'm going to fill the gap. Many of us will go down beneath our privilege. And as a result, we miss out on what God has called us to do, to be the gap fillers. If you're not filling the gap, what happens? There's an empty space. And you're bothering with stuff that really does not matter when God has called you to stand in the gap. So many of us are concerned with little things. Get focused and refocus off of little things. Say in our congregation, do not major on the minors. That'll mess up the ministry. When you major on the minors, it messes up the ministry. Make sure the goal, like Bishop said, we have a clarion call, and look, see what clearly understand and realize what the vision is. If it's not part of the vision, if it's not part of the mission, cut it out. If it's not what God has called us to do, yes, that might be a great idea. Yes, that I'll think about that. Yes, that's wonderful. But no, that's not what the vision God has given me for the house. And if it's not for the vision, yes, let somebody else do it. But as for me, I'm a gap filler, baby, and I'm going to stand in the gap. So many of us are so worried about all the little other holes. You only have 10 hands, 10 fingers. You can't poke in all the little holes, but you can have a body to fill in the gap. To stand forth. Here it is. God is calling us to be Nehemiah kingdom men. So we'll fill in the gap of leadership. What is the gap of leadership in our generation? I'm going to put it out there. It's fatherlessness. Now, it doesn't mean that you have to put somebody in your house all the time, but sometimes it does mean that. Come on, somebody. We've done it in our own home. We brought folks in. But it also means, if you can't do that, it means that you can take another brother underneath your wing and say, brother, your father might not be there, but I'm going to stand there with you. Listen, men model other men. And if they don't have a biblical model of a man, they'll follow after whatever else they see. I'm amazed as I do pastoral counseling with people. Whenever we do pastoral counseling, we get in there, we get dirty, we get everything about whatever the past has been. And I'm always amazed when I always talk about sex with the individuals. Nobody ever said that my father or my mother told me about sex. Who is it that told you about sex? Oh, my friends told me. Oh, I followed after my friends. I did what my friends told me to do in school. I did what my friends and my girlfriends and my boyfriends told me to do after this. And as a result, because men have not stepped up to tell our men what they're going to call to do, they'll find it from somewhere else in an unhealthy way. I know it's going to get quiet, but I'm going to put it right down there with it. But understand and realize, beloved, you have a responsibility and a call, not only to your own family, but a communal family called the Church of God. You have a call to let that understand and realize if there's a brother out there who's struggling, don't let him go off on the wayside. The Bible literally declares those who are strong ought to take up the infirmities of what? The weak. Beloved, you're called to fill in the gap. There's a gap in leadership in our men. Men in the church. Heard it all everywhere I speak and everywhere I go. Where are the men? Bishop, in our own conference, we were understanding and realizing our women, we were just like as yours, the women's conferences, the women's functions are packed out. Yeah, man. The men, we're struggling and wrestling. We got to do all the gimmicks to get them in there. Oh, we're going to do this and we're going to do that and we're going to do this to try to get them just to be in the building. I'm being honest. Come on, I'm being honest. Women, all you got to do is throw on a little music. They're there. What's going on amongst our men? We need kingdom men to model what a man is. When you start to model what a man is, it calls other men to attention. Calls other men to say, you know what? I like the way he talks. There's something different about that brother. What is it about that brother that calls me? It's about relationships, brothers. I know many times it's difficult for us to be in relationship with other men. We compare, contrast, stick out our chests. God's calling us to vulnerability. Men have questions. Young men have questions. They have questions. And the problem is they're going to get answers for those questions. But are they going to get the right answers from the right people? If we're not speaking about it, if we're not addressing it, then they're going to get the wrong answers. It's your responsibility. Yes, the pastor, but also you. Will you fill in the gap? There's a call, beloved, to fill in the gap. Why is there a call to fill in the gap? Because it protects what God has been doing. It protects what we have been called to be. It protects the walls. If we have a whole bunch of gaps in our walls, we can let any imagination, any philosophy come in and corrupt the mind of our men. Was it last year? I was in Sing Sing prison. Bishop, I went in, they locked the doors behind me. I said, listen. I'll make sure I got a pass to get out. I was amazed when I was in Sing Sing prison. Men who had been in the prison since the age of 18. And when I went into prison, I was amazed once again to see how many had been corrupted by false doctrines and religions. Looking for the truth in the midst of the darkest place of their lives. And I know that it's a false religion. Why? Because they tell me the stories of how their children, some of them are serving time with their own children.